Another area where Alaska can lead is the reestablishment of our nation's mineral supply chain. It was last Congress I introduced a Critical Minerals Policy Act. It had very broad bipartisan support. I'm now working with Chairman Wyden to reintroduce this measure. But this effort, I think, truly brings our mineral policies into the 21st century. It'll bring direct economic benefits to our state. So we're hoping that we're going to make good progress on that. We also have a very good shot this Congress at revenue sharing for the state of Alaska, revenue sharing for the country. Senator Mary Landrieu, who's from Louisiana, she and I will be introducing a bill soon. I'd actually hope that we would have it ready for introduction before this visit back to the state. We're still working out a few of the issues. We've been working with Chairman Wyden on this, and I'm really quite pleased with where we are with it right now. But we realized that an Alaska-only bill is not going to pass Congress. So what we wanted to do was focus on the national perspective. So what our legislation will do is direct 27.5% of the revenues from all forms of offshore energy production to our coastal states. So in other words, it's not just oil and gas, but it would be if you have offshore wind, if you have ocean energy, that these would also be part of our revenue sharing proposal. We offer an additional 10% of revenues if states establish funds for clean energy and conservation projects. So there's kind of a sweetener to this because we want to focus the states on how we're pushing on the technology, how we push to develop our renewable energy projects. And then we also extend revenue sharing to cover alternative and renewable energy projects that are located onshore as well. So if it's on BLM land, you've got a solar farm or whatever, there again would be an opportunity for revenue sharing. So what this proposal means for the country is more energy, plain and simple, more energy. And for us here in Alaska, certainly new revenue, perhaps billions of dollars in new revenue to our state. And I think that's something, again, would get the attention of all of you. So these are some of the energy priorities that I have over the next couple years. But overshadowing all of this, overshadowing really our future prosperity here in the state, is a more insidious problem that we're fighting every day, and that's what we're seeing with federal overreach. Alaska bears a disproportionate share of that growing national burden, both in terms of costs imposed and opportunities lost. And we've seen that. We've seen that federal overreach up at the Colville River. We saw it on the banks of the Yukon. We've seen it on health care. We've seen it on our Second Amendment rights. Regulatory encroachment is affecting our fishermen, those families that are simply trying to stay warm, our ability to develop our resources. And this federal overreach has impacted severely at times our economic opportunities, and that's disturbing enough. But just a few weeks ago, we were dealt, I believe, a new low when the Department of Interior decided that a few miles of habitat within a vast refuge are more important than the villagers of King Cove. The Fish and Wildlife Service somehow found cause to oppose a single-lane gravel road that would allow non-commercial travel between King Cove and the all-weather airport over there at Cold Bay, a road that is needed to provide for the safety of the people that live there, to prevent accidents and to save lives. This is where I have a tough time sticking to the script, because I can understand that we can have debates over issues that revolve around permits for access to develop something so that some producers make money, the state makes money, but it's about access to a project. We're not talking about a project here. We are talking about the safety of Alaskans. And if there was not a simple opportunity here, if there wasn't a simple fix, maybe we wouldn't be having this argument. But we're talking about a 10-mile single-lane gravel road that's not going to be open for commercial use. So I was asked, well, okay, it's not going to have much traffic now, but what happens when people get comfortable with that road and they're going to start driving the road? My friends, there are 748 people in King Cove. There are less than 100 people in Cold Bay. At the height of the season, when the fish are running, we might be up to 1,000. The price of unleaded gas or fuel out there is, over $5. You think people just go out riding for the fun of it? Anyway, we're going to address this. We're going to address this because what we have seen, what we have seen coming out of the Interior Department is a decision that has effectively prioritized conservation over the health and safety of the people who live there in King Cove. And so if this is going to be the direction that the department takes, that we are going to value, we're going to respect the refuge, but we're not going to respect the lives of the people out there, we've got a real problem with this. We've got a real problem. But there's still an opportunity for the Secretary to address this, to correct it. He still has to make a public interest determination, and I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that this administration understands the gravity of its mistake and in the end do the right thing. I'm just simply not going to stand down when the safety of Alaskans is at stake. And the Secretary, I think, is getting this message. I was able to deliver this message to Vice President Biden. I was able to deliver this message to the President's nominee for the Secretary of Interior, Sally Jewell. I think they are getting the message loud and clear. The people of King Cove, or at least about 25 of them, are going to be coming back to Washington, D.C. Next week. They will have a meeting with the Secretary. It's unfortunate that this is the 6th time that villagers from King Cove have had to travel back to Washington in the hopes that they might be able to meet with the Secretary. Not good. So we've got some issues with how we're communicating here, but again, Eisenbeck is one issue that you can tell gets me riled up a little bit, but it is an issue of where we have seen examples of federal overreach in our state. I'm sure that each one of you has examples that you can share with me. We are all in this fight together, and so that's why I want to conclude my remarks with a serious request. There has probably never been a time in our 54 years of statehood when the congressional delegation, the state legislature, the governor need to work more closely together. On Eielson, on energy, on so many of the issues that we face, we must recognize that our broader economy will not be healthy unless our regional economies are also healthy. We must jointly make the case for the resource development needed to refill taps and diversify our economy. We need to do a better job of coordinating our fiscal priorities. We've got to do the research out there, folks. We've got to weigh in with the public comments on these endless string of regulations, rules, restrictions that are coming out of the executive branch. I know you hate to do it, but we need you to. And we must be communicating with one another about what we're seeing, what we're doing, and how we can use each other's help. And with that spirit, it's now your turn to talk. I want to thank you.